Alright, hello everybody. This is the 71st episode of the Apostle Obsonate playthrough as Ike Upscribe. I'm System Chalk, and hopefully we're going to be making a little bit more progress on our works today. So we've gotten the illumination part of the challenge. We were originally going to be using the fascination for that. The challenge was that there's a season of vision. Actually, the season of visions came and went, and there's another season of visions coming up. So if it had propagated, that would have definitely been very challenging for us to deal with. One thing I did neglect to do was take care of the repairs, so we're going to get Tristan to work on that right away. And then essentially there's 3 remaining texts for us to translate and study. None of them are particular threats, but I have put the Gospel of Zacchaeus at the end just on the odd chance that I don't remember that one as well as I thought. And then following all of that, we will get a couple of summons in. We'll ransack the various locations, and we'll just try and get some more text to be able to find locations in the Lone and Level Sands. So on we go. I'm really bad at dragging this stuff. That may not have been how I had it before, but I review tidy columns of figures in a tidy 5th floor room. From my office window, I can see the river. My secretary brings me a hot drink every 59 minutes. The river is the color of rain. Okay, so we still want to do some commissions. In this case, we can... Well, actually, this might provoke a season of visions. So let's do the Forge commission first. So the Shaping Chant along with 2 Reason. This may be useful for a commission. It's because this is a very substantial lantern one. Again, maybe fascination is something that I can't really think of a situation where I would want to generate it, but it does potentially annihilate some dread. So that would make me feel a little bit safer going to the Worm Museum, for instance. And so perhaps when I do the Lantern Commission, given the fact that there's going to be 2 Reason, these of course give us 2 Lantern already, we could add it with the formula Concursit, and essentially we'd be having 14 Lantern to potentially generate a... Actually, I guess the Lantern event gives us erudition, not... Yeah, so never mind. It doesn't work as well as I thought. Just trying to think if there's anything I want to do with the dream slot right now. I think we'll go through the Stag Door. The Stag Door is the Adept's Gate. To pass it is to be initiated into the first true mystery of the House of the Sun. The head Gearby weeps to see me enter where it cannot, but it must let me pass. The scarred valves of the door grind open. I do need to decide what to do with the Delightful Blood. I do still want to allow for the possibility of Dread, and that's pretty much just been closed off, so... We go to Oriflammes, we use the Delightful Blood. Our Delight's Blood is payment towards certain special goods for particular connoisseurs. Everything must be just right for the vitulation. And balked, my studies have been stymied for now. Now, you'll notice that you can't actually put these back on the same stack, and that's because they're missing the Lantern and the Erudition and Glimmering entries. So these are in fact different cards than the current Unresolved Ambiguity, which makes it a little difficult for board organization, but obviously makes sense because you know, now that there's a new system, well, new for me, on the scale of someone who's playing since the early version of the game, but this system has been established for a while in real time. Just given the way that studying works, it does make sense to keep these things separate. With that in mind, though, we do have the Season of Visions and Season of Dread coming up, so now is a great time for us to get some translation done. Lock the study door, the work begins, and in about 7 seconds we will stop by Glover and Glover to work. My follower needs a bronze Spintrea or better to complete their task. Well, we've got 4 more after this. And Madame Bichet has her commission, or will have her commission. So I don't see any reason for bidding for the 7 Graces. In this case, we already have it, or we should already have it. Where'd it go? There is a chance that So I think there is a chance that I might actually have something nasty waiting for me. So you know what, let's just take the Subtle Rupture. It's probably a little early to try and do some summonings, but I'll have this around for a minute. And it's going to decay into something that I can probably still use summonings for, so we'll just hang on to that for now. In sleep, I ran my fingers along the ridged edges of the Stagdor scars. Our company it was that shattered it, Gearby says suddenly, before the gods who were flesh. The Mansus was forbidden to mortals. We were the first no. He begins again to weep his molten tears. I wish that we had not. I wish I had died in the world. I've forgotten what else he said, but I remember the shape of the fissures at in the stag door, and for all of today, doors will fear my touch. Okay, let's think about the dream slot. Is there anything else I want to do with it right now? I think waiting the 10 seconds for the repair makes the most sense at the moment. So we'll just hang on to that slot. I think I had the reason and passion on the other sides. I'm going to do my best not to be annoyed by that. The mirror is repaired. It shines again as it did once before. So we have an immediate use for it. The peacock's door reflects the mirror I hold in my sleep, and the mirror reflects the peacock's door. Already a sensuous shiver ripples its surface. It aches for fracture, and when it finds that satisfaction, I will enter. Okay, so fascination is done. Dread's coming up, and then we are clear for the next period. I should have turned this in with Madame Bichet already, so there it is. I'll also grab a commission from Count Jannings when I can. You'll notice I've just been ignoring the Season of Suspicions, and that's just because we've deliberately been keeping a low profile as all of our work gets done. And I guess, see, technically I don't need to worry about anything that comes up, because we know there's not going to be dread or fascination. Actually, with that in mind, it makes sense to finally read the Gospel of Zacchaeus. So, an extremely heterodox account of the Nazarene Messiah and his works, describing his ascension to the Mansus through the opening of his body. 7 were the wounds of his body, 7 are the doors of the house, 7 the lesser aspects of the hours, and Knock the aspect above all, for the mother of ants is the mother of salvation. And I've received the currency of the secret world, and my patron has let tantalizing information slip. So the erudition won't help me a whole lot right now. I'm in the one situation where I actually want to generate fascination. Well, want is maybe a little strong, but I am comfortable generating fascination. I do need to remember a trip to the Worm Museum is perhaps ill-advised. Oh, let's see, it's likely that the secret history would be... I might risk it. I'd prefer a difference of 6 seconds, but can't always get what you want. Let's get a commission from Jannings. I think in the worst case scenario, maybe I just visit the Ecdysis Club. Alright, a heart commission. So I was kind of hoping for these just so that I could potentially generate the, the event that pops up from heart. Okay, so we are going to sort of throw ourselves into the lantern work. Okay, this is level 6, so still enough for most summons that I would want to do. I do also kind of think about the summons that are not going to have negative side effects, so obviously if I generate something like a Maid in the Mirror, I'm going to have to deal with potential dread. Oh man, an Unresolved Ambiguity. That's kind of tempting to try and take on its own. Let's roll the dice. Okay, Perfect Frost. Well, maybe I will be summoning that Maid in the Mirror after all. The world is still as ice. Each movement is a journey. A 15th order influence. This might be the personal attention of an hour. It can be used in some rites to summon minions. If unused, it will become dread. Last night I visited the Worm Museum, which is both within the Mansus for security and without for safety. The hours have charged the Colonel with its defense, and even the Lionsmith does not challenge him here. Winter is the chiefest aspect of this place. The worms thrive where things end, but they can also be ended, and they must if the Mansus is to endure. This morning, the chilly certainty of the Colonel's hand still lies on my shoulder. So this does create problems for me, but... and I'm not so desperate to be getting Spintrea right now, so let's do... I mean, it would be nice to get some more bronze, but let's get Tristan on the mirror right away. And we'll go back through the Stag Door, which is the Adept's Gate. To pass through it is to be initiated in the first true mystery of the House of the Sun. The head Gearby weeps to see me enter where it cannot, but it must let me pass. The scarred valves of the door grind open. So if I wanted to do a summoning now, probably would have been the time because it's going to decay yet again. Either way, though, it's not huge for me. It was a nice opportunity. It's not a must-have. The book includes a description of a rite which can be used to raise a corpse to half-life in memory of he who bled for the wood. It requires a corpse and sufficient power. The author suggests invocation of winter lore and an assistant touched by powers of the wood. I had to think about that. What is the winter and moth? I'm gonna take a look at that. I don't think I'm actually gonna do it, but it'd be neat to see what it actually causes. Okay, yet another trip. Yet another package from Paul Samuelson. Let's read the Twin Serpent Tantra. Just before the outbreak of the Great War, Alexander Sparrow, almost certainly a pseudonym, published leaflets claiming the influence of snake princes on world affairs. The text called the Twin Serpent Tantra was his primary inspiration. The Tantra describes the Great Hooded Princes, a dynasty of princes of unclear origin, engaging in prayers, sacrifices, and poetry in honor of the Key Serpent, the Crossroads Twins, and the Mirror Queen. Nagai encircles, Nagai arises from wounds, Nagai spares those who are already harmed. Or maybe it's Nagi? Sorry, I was thinking of Naga for some reason, which probably is right, and I'm getting in my own head, but... Okay, there's our Lantern manuscript. No sort of lantern event. Again, the likelihood of us actually needing erudition or glimmering is kind of remote. So again, maybe I would say, oh, well, let's see what happens with the... I am going to mess around with rituals. I'm just not going to activate them. So if I had wanted the level 6 knock, I shouldn't have done the commission because we obviously don't have enough time to get back to Glover and Glover. We are, however, going to follow the instructions. I also didn't actually read the description. So the rite... The assistant is offered in sacrifice to the mother of ants, but the mother knows healing as well as poison, and she will be merciful, accepting the substitute of a lesser offering. Usually, the experience is not reassuring to the assistant. So we'd add Eusebet. As above, so below, passion and reason contend in the human soul, and the wood engulfs the glory's light. This ecstatic practice will transform reason to passion, but it may get out of hand. You are calling on only a minor degree of moth, so the rite will often fail. Increase moth to at least 10 to improve your chances. Interesting. I didn't realize it was that simple. So if we add... okay, I can't add the winter. The invocation is a writ or lore, so... And the offering... I'm just trying to think of anything else that I can do to try and... Oh, actually, there is one way I can mess around with this a little bit. Reason's glory. As above, so below. Passion and reason contend. Fair enough. Interesting. So I'm trying to think of how the winter and moth are supposed to interact. not a major concern right now. Just it caught me by surprise when I saw that description in the Gospel of Zacchaeus. So that's probably something I'll want to check out on my own, but maybe not for this playthrough because again, I'm not going to do anything with it. Laces uncoil, windows swing open, locks move as if oiled. Forgotten Chronicle's a little weak for me to just work with on its own, so... Painted river runs from a great chamber near the White Door, far through the mansis. To its far edge, where it enters a painted delta of far cloud. I voyaged half its length last night, with a stern-faced captain beneath a rust-red sail. As the clouds rose before us, the sailors raised a yearning shanty, and close-hauled the sails to best use the painted wind. And all the while, the captain and I discoursed on the secrets of the House of the Sun. I don't think we're quite ready for the Peacock Door yet. Well, especially if I don't pay for repairs. I'm really trying to get the Forbidden Epics doing this. So I might be on a bit of a wild goose chase. I still think it's worth trying. Okay, Season of Sickness coming up, so if I can do something to try and provoke some vitality, so much the better. Doing the commission is probably the most reliable way for me to accomplish that right now. So we've got 182 seconds of blood left and 231 of delightful blood, so that works for me. And we've finished the Twin Serpent Tantra. The Great Hooded Princes are described as having escaped from the history of their death to a history where they yet live. The text claims that there are now 108 of them, but in one of many instances of twinnedness before they crossed from their death chronicle, there were only 54. So we have the Menascate Invocation, which I believe we had before, yes. And we have yet another Rite of the Mother's Mercy. When the moon's face was wounded, these words appeared. Okay, so the last bit of reading that we need to do before we are well and truly done and on our way to doing some expeditions is the Furious Tantra. So it's unlikely we'll be finishing this tonight, but at this point, really the question is, am I able to get the fascination to allow me to upgrade these unresolved ambiguities? I do slightly want to push for it, but not to the point where I sort of compromise myself. If it happens, so much the better, but I'm not necessarily going to be going out of my way to deliberately provoke fascination. Like, basically, if a fairly reliable opportunity comes up, I will take it. I'm not going to go crashing into a bunch of different opportunities, because just these things have a tendency of getting out of hand. Okay, so work-wise, we did say that we wanted to get some vitality, so let's do the heart commission. We'll take the formula Vigilant. It's the strongest heart that I've got, and we will apply our reason to our work. This may be useful for a commission. We can also talk with Dr. Redeem and give him the commission. I have what the doctor requested. In the worst case scenario, I do have some silver spintrea, so I could use those to repair the Wildering Mirror if I need. Obviously, those are pretty good for the auction house, so there's something to be said for hanging on to some of these spintrea, just on the chance I lose the job at Glover and Glover. Okay, I'm going to try the Painted River. So, got my Forbidden Epic, but of course, it's still a bit of a journey ahead of me in terms of getting that where I need it to be. There's a great chamber in the mansis. There's a great chamber in the mansis through which the Painted River flows. The vagabond, it is claimed, painted it from memory in the years before she left the house. Certainly, there are histories concealed in its design. I traced them with my hand last night. There were fragments of aquamarine paint beneath my nails, flecks of gold leaf when I was done. So, Season of Sickness coming up, not despair. And we have a Wildering Mirror ready for the Peacock Door. In my dreams I know the path through the glass garden to the Peacock's Door, the most admirable of doors, the door which shines like a mirror. Perhaps with the right resources I can pass it. The Peacock's Door reflects the mirror I hold in my sleep, and the mirror reflects the Peacock's Door. Already a sensuous shiver ripples its surface, it aches for fracture, and when it finds that satisfaction, I will enter. So Season of Suspicion coming up next, so obviously we want to head back to Glover and Glover. I guess if I want my fascination, the Savor's Blood will provide that before too long. So there's opportunities, just whether or not they arrive at the right time is another question. I prepared the text for study. The Furious Tantra, as later transcribed by the medium and pyrotechnician Jacob Oliver Top Mugglestone. The tradition has it that he found it seared in the bark of an oak by lightning. So the Furious Tantra. This Tantra describes the uses and dangers of anger. It cautions that anger does not always survive transformations. And I think that's time. I don't normally like leaving the readings half done. But we didn't get our health. So yeah, this is going to be interesting, just because I know there's probably going to be some time between me recording episodes on this. I have a feeling I'm probably going to need to decipher... Oop. Wait a minute. If I got a commission from Jannings, who... Oh, right. There we go. But yeah, I think I should probably call it there, because I really am trying to keep these videos in the time allotted, and it used to be that 20 was an upper bound as opposed to a suggestion as to when I stop. So thank you all for watching, as always. I think in the next few episodes, we are finally going to get around to these expeditions. I know I keep promising that, but we hit the major milestone, which is to read the Furious Tantra, which was the last book that we had. That means that summonings come sort of immediately afterwards. Sorry, I just don't want to lose my job at Glover and Glover, so we'll lock that in. So the ideal, of course, would have been to get the fascination to be able to get another location for the Lone and Level Sands, and the main reason that's interesting to me is just because if I can, I would really like to be able to say, okay, we generated, I think 6, 7 notoriety. If I can get that other Lone and Level Sands, we move to the library, or the HQ with a library. And then the big thing is that only 4 of these are going to give me anything like books. And there's no guarantee that these will give me books, because I don't remember what their holdings are. I know for sure I'm not going to get it from the Tombs of the Shadowless King. So if I could make it so that I'm getting 6 locations worth of books, that gives me a chance to read a bunch of texts, that gives me some time to upgrade the unresolved ambiguities and just generally get a little bit further on the batch of notoriety that I'm going to generate than what I currently am going to be getting. But it's not the end of the world one way or the other. But all considerations for future episodes. As always, I tremendously appreciate you watching, and if you liked it, do feel free to leave a like, or if you disliked it, I suppose there is a thumbs down as well. You can. It'd be wonderful if I could disable that. Yeah. And I do always read the comments. I do appreciate them. Again, not all of them are positive. I do like it when people are respectful in their feedback. The ones that just tell me how to play, I just ignore. But one of the big highlights of doing Cultist Simulator has just been that there is a tremendous amount of positivity and good, good sentiments coming from the people who watch. And so even if you just lurk or if you don't leave comments, or if you are one of those people who's left the comments, just please know that those are the reasons why I keep doing these videos. And on that note, I will see you all next week around 6:30 for the next episode. Until then.